And new CBS News polling reveals that at least 87% of Americans believe there is at least some wasteful spending in federal government agencies, while 51% believe there is a lot. CBS News Elections and Surveys Executive Director Anthony Salvanto takes a closer look at what Americans think of changes being made by President Trump.
So we're talking about changes to the federal workforce. Here's something that Americans widely agree with each other on. The idea that Donald Trump is making changes to how the U.S. government works. Most people say they're major changes, but whether they're for the better or for the worse is more divided, as are many things. In particular, Trump's efforts to cut staff at government agencies, as you see, divides the nation, and there's large partisan splits. A lot of Republicans in favor, a lot of Democrats not. Now, when you look at the ideas behind this, start with the premise that, as many Americans do believe, there's at least some waste in the federal government. But where does it come from? If you follow that up, Democrats more likely to say it comes from poor spending choices. Republicans more likely to say they suspect fraud in the system. So where does that lead? When you start to look at the potential implications of all this and how the public sees it, well, for Republicans, they widely believe that the reductions will lead to removing unnecessary jobs, making agencies work better, saving taxpayer money. But for those Democrats, they're more inclined to suspect that it'll remove essential workers, impact their local area, remove workers who oppose Donald Trump. So you see those differences, but with all of those responses, you do get a sense that there's still a lot of wait and see out there, a lot of uncertainty, but certainty about the fact that something will have an impact. Now, when you look at the particular measure of whether Elon Musk and Doge should have influence over government operations and spending, here again you see a lot of partisan divides. A lot of Democrats saying he and they should have none, more Republicans saying at least some, if not a lot, and that's where those splits end up, because Donald Trump gets very positive or somewhat positive approval on a couple of measures. Particularly look at immigration. On the economy, he's closer to even, narrowly positive, but more negative on inflation. And what this raises heading into the big speech this week is, look at what people say should be a priority, a high priority for Donald Trump. The top answer, the economy. Second, very close, inflation, right here. But then you ask people, well, what do you think he's giving high priority to? And that is a different list. Look at where economy is on that list. Look at where inflation is on that list, towards the bottom. That disconnect between what they want to be a high priority and what they think Trump is focusing a lot on is probably a gap in perception that we want to watch this week and see if it moves ahead of the address to Congress.
Anthony Salvanto, thank you. And we'll have coverage of President Trump's address to Congress all day tomorrow. It starts, of course, right here on the CBS Morning News at 7 a.m. Eastern.